Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. We will start here shortly. Okay, guys, MG here from MG Covers, welcoming you to another handicapping video. Today, we're going to talk about how to handicap soccer totals. This is part 3 of our soccer handicapping video. If you want to go back later and watch the first video, you don't have to. I would probably recommend it. There's 2 other videos, obviously, before this, where it talks about handicapping the money line in soccer. This is going to specifically deal with how to handicap soccer totals. Before we get started, tonight's video is sponsored by dogsandaces.com. That's where you'll find all of our picks, plays for myself, Redbeard, and Jimmy, our full team at Dogs and Aces. We offer daily packages, weekly packages, as well as monthly packages. We currently have a March Madness package. You can buy the remainder of March Madness for $50. You can also pick up my NHL totals, as well as daily and weekly cards as well. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get started and dive right into it. Okay. So First thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate. This is a game between Hoffenheim. This is a previous game. I think this game was March the 10th between Hoffenheim and Nuremberg. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. And the first thing we do is we calculate year-to-date goals, and we calculate the last 5 games of goals. Okay. And what I did was I just made a little chart here for us to look at. So here's how we do this. So you got to figure out the total amount of goals for and goals against, and then you add that up, and that gives you a total. The site that I use is soccerstats.com. I should have put a link in the description box. I'll probably add that later. So if you're watching this on a replay, it'll probably be there, soccerstats.com. So again, goals for, goals against, and if you add that up, 44 plus 31, that equals 75. And what you do next is you take the total number of games, which was 24 up to this point, and you take 75 divided by 24, and that gives you an average of 3.12. So in Hoffenheim's games year to date, their goals and their opponent's goals average 3.12 goals per game. And we did the same for Nuremberg. Goals for is 20. Goals against is 46. You add that together, it gives you a total of 66. You take 66 divided by 24, and that averages 2.75. Now, generally, I'm going to stop right here for a second. What most of the odds makers do, and probably the general public, would be just what I did right here, even if they were considered a, quote, sharp, which obviously we know most of the general public is not a sharp meaning a smart sports handicapper like myself. What they would do is they would take this year-to-date average, 3.12, and add it to 2.17. What's that going to give you? About 5.8. Divide that by 2. And that's generally going to be what they use to compare that against the totals line. The reason that's not a smart or the correct way to do it is because year-to-date stats, as you've watched a lot of my previous videos, has no bearing on predicting the most probable outcome right now, meaning what a team did in January, February, even back in November, that has no relevance on how they're going to perform tonight. You need more recent data in order to do that, to get a more accurate picture of how that team is performing right now. We use goals from the last 5 games, the most current games. So looking at this, that's why you see L5GF and L5GA. So last 5 goals for Hoffenheim were 10. Their last 5 GA goals against was 8. So 10 plus 8 equals 18. So we were using the last 5 games. So you take 18 divided by 5, and you can get an average of 3.6. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. If you notice, now Nuremberg, their last 5 goals for is just 2, meaning in 5 games they've only scored 2 goals total, and their last 5 goals against are 6. So what's interesting to note, not only are they having trouble scoring, but they're also playing really good defense. That gives them total goals of 8. You divide that by 5, you get 1.6. So you can already see, let's see, did I do this here? Yeah. Look at where it says 2.75. That's a year-to-date average. And again, that's not the most predictable stat to use of how that team's going to perform in this game between Hoffenheim and Nuremberg. This stat right here, 1.6, is probably more accurate than the 2.75. However, to capture both of these, what we do is we add 2.75 plus the 1.6. So we still want to take in the year-to-date average, but we're going to only give that factor in that 50%, and we'll factor in the other 50% with the last 5 games. So what we do is the 2.75 plus 1.6, whatever that equals, divide that by 2, and that gives us 2.17. And again, the same thing with Hoffenheim. off. So you go 3.12 plus 3.6, and that divide that by 2, and that will give you 3.36. So Hoffenheim's final number is 3.36, and Nürnberg's final number is 2.17. So we take their total year-to-date average of goals, and we take the total amount of the last 5 games, add those together, and divide by 2. Now, so what do we do next? All right, 3.36 plus 2.17 is going to equal 5.53. And we have to divide by 2, and that gives us 2.76. So all we did was we added up the team's final totals number and divided by 2, which gives us an overall, our official totals number. So when you see a total line of 2.5, 3, et cetera, whatever, 3.5 in a soccer line, our totals line is 2.76. A lot of people ask me, and I get a lot of DMs, hey, how do I calculate my own line? Well, here's how you do it. So our totals line for this game is 2.76. So on to the next screen. So again, I just said that our line for the game is 2.76. Now, the actual line for this game, you can look down below, is 3.5. So here's how we do the math. We have to find out, obviously, our line is lower than that line, correct? But we have to figure out what margin that is. So what we do is you always take the lower number, the smaller number, and actually, how can I say that? Am I saying that right? Yeah, you put the lower number on top, the bigger number on the bottom. There's an easy way to say it. And just make them whole 3-digit numbers. So 3.50 becomes 350, and 2.76 becomes 276. So if we take 276 divided by 350, that gives us 0.78. Now, to figure out a margin, you just take 0.78 minus 1, and this will equal 22% margin. Or a lot of people refer to margin as value, and in a better layman's term, it would be discount. So, here's how we look at this game from a handicapping perspective. If we go, okay, our line is 276. The line given us 3.5. So there's a 22% difference. So that's a pretty good margin. So another, I've said this before in previous videos, another way to look at margin is to think of discount. If you walked into a store and let's say, hey, we got a good deal on some headphones. These headphones are 5% off. You would say, well, that's not really a good deal. It's only 5%. Well, let's say if the headphones were $100 and he said, hey, we got a good deal, or 22% off. It's a pretty good deal. So you're buying those headphones, whatever that is, $78. So instead of paying $100, you get 22% off, and those headphones will be $78. That's all margin is. That's all value is. So when you hear people talk about, oh, we got good value on that, that means they have a good margin, a good spread. And obviously, the higher that number, the better that number. Now, if there's anything, generally, the way I do this, a lot of people do this in the stock market. They want to buy at least a 15% margin. They want to have at least a 15% margin. And I do that in sports betting as well when I'm doing my lines. I want to have at least 15% margin. And if you can have 22, if you can have 30, 35% margin, that's even better. Because let's say the number was, instead of 276, let's say it was 325. So if you're at home, I don't have a calculator in front of me. If you take 325 divided by 350, whatever that number is, subtract 1, it's going to be like what's going to be 4%. See, there's no margin. That means that would be a no play. Whereas what we're showing you here is our line, there's a 22% margin between our line and the actual line. So that would be a play on the under. And as you can see by the result, we actually have the result here. We actually won this game. So they scored 3 goals, and we had it under. And what's interesting, remember, if you back up to the previous slide, remember I said what most people do in there, they're looking at I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and do it. See this 275? That's what they're looking at. That's what most people do. They look at year-to-date averages, whereas if you look over there at the 1.6, we factored in the last 5 games as well as the year-to-date, which gave us a more accurate model and prediction of how many goals Nuremberg really was going to score. So they really weren't scoring that many goals. Yet the over for this game was 3.5. Was 3.5, and we had the total as 276. So the under one there. So hopefully that made sense, and that's really how simple it is. All right, let's look at another one here. Am I doing this right? Oh no, but I got to back up here. All right, I'm going to show you the spreadsheet. We're actually going to do one live here, so bear with me while I pull this up. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Hang on, everybody. All right, so this is cool. You can see it now. So I'm going to go to soccerstats.com. And this is where I get all my information. We click on English Premier League here. Is this the right one here? Let me see here. I'm just thinking here out loud. Yep, this is it. So I've made a spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to use a spreadsheet to put information in there. And we're actually going to calculate a total for a game that's going to happen on Wednesday. So what I do is I just go over here. I just scroll down here. I'm on a Mac, so I go to copy, and then this is a spreadsheet that I created, and I'll let you see the big picture first. It calculates all this for you, and it makes it so much easier. And so if you just scroll down here, what I do is just come along right in here, click that box and click paste, and it will basically throw all that information in there for you. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click here where it says Liverpool, go all the way down, scroll all the way down, and go over here to clear, click remove hyperlinks, make this 20, and click copy, and go all the way up here to the top. You get to 1 and click paste, and boom, there it is. So you don't have to type any of that in. So we got to figure in goals for and goals against. So watch this. So we'll go here, and we'll do the same thing with goals for and goals against. So we just copy all of that like that, and copy. There's probably you could probably make a program to where it will sort of do all this for you. I'm not the best at Excel, but efficient. Okay, boom. So if you look here now, it's already calculated. This is from a previous video. This calculates win percentage. If you watch the previous videos, we go into all this right here in great detail. But since we're interested in totals, the next thing we have to do is we need to find out. We're going to do the totals game between. Hang on one second. Let me make sure I'm doing the right totals game here. Yep. We're going to do the Tottenham Crystal Palace game that's coming up on Wednesday. So first thing we have to do is we have to look at how many games Tottenham's played, 31, and Crystal Palace has played 31 as well. So we'll go over here where it says GP total games played for Tottenham. Type in 31. Here to Crystal Palace. 31. Now we have to type in the last 5 games for Tottenham. So what we do is pretty simple. If you go over here, this is a really good site. You just click on the team there, and we're going to look for, again, the last 5 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I do is I calculate each side so that this is correct. So we're going to calculate Tottenham's goals for 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've only had 4 goals, 4 in the last 5. So go here, type in 4, and then goals against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now. All right, and as you can see, when we do that, what this does is, look here, it automatically counts. So their year-to-date number, just like you saw in that previous example, is 2.96, and their last 5 is 2.6. So what this does is it automatically calculates all this for you. So you go 2.96 plus 2.6 divided by 2 gives you a total finals number for Tottenham for at 2.78. All right. So now we scroll over to Crystal Palace. And you click Crystal Palace right there, and we do the same thing. So we're going to get their goals for first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, wait, 11. 11. I went into another game there. My bad. So Crystal Palace, 11 goals for. And Crystal Palace goals against would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that right? Let me recount that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's it. So 7. So now that would be, yep, that's it. Now what we have is just that short amount of time we're able to calculate all that pretty quick. And of course, you could do this for all the teams, and you could and that's basically what I do. So you can do a whole team, you can do a whole league in about 15, 20 minutes. Probably less, actually. I hadn't really timed it, but I'm guessing that's what it was. And that's going to give you, you'll be able to calculate the money lines that I show you in the previous 2 videos, as well as the totals. All that's already done once you fill in this information. So looking at this, we have Tottenham's final totals number is 2.78, and for Crystal Palace is 3.07. So remember those 2 numbers, and we'll go back to our presentation here. Whoops. My bad. But okay, here we go. So there's our numbers. 2.78 plus 3.07 equals 5.85. So all we do is calculate. We take the 5.85 divided by 2, and our total line for this game is 2.92. All right. Now, if we look at the actual line for the game, the line for the game is 2.5. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is the actual juice or the line that they give you. You have to watch that. Again, for these, I generally don't play anything greater than minus 120. Minus 120 means about a 60% chance of that happening. So I wouldn't. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. Minus 150 would be a 60% chance. I think minus 120 would be somewhere like 54% chance of happening. So I wouldn't play any game where they give you juice that's greater than minus 120. A lot of these games just like minus 115, minus 117 on the totals. And I might do another video about that later, but for now, let's just look at the totals numbers. So again, the odds maker line is 2.5. Our totals line is 2.92. So you remember from the other example, you take the lower number. It doesn't matter which side it's on. If it's our line or the other line, you take the lowest number and put that on top and put the big number on the bottom. So 250 divided by 295 equals 0.85. Minus 1 equals a 15% margin. So that means that, and that's right there at the limit, play or no play. But for me, we are going to play this game. So that means we would take the over in this game. Since our line is 2.92, we'll get 15% margin in that. So this would be a play for us. Now, the majority of time when you're doing totals using this stat model we came up with, the majority of time it's going to be a no play. There'll be very few games that you'll play. Maybe 10 games. There's 2 or 3 max. That's just the way it is. And generally, a good stat model, you would want it to be very what I call very tight. So where it's only going to pick a couple winners. That basically shows you that you have a good a really good stat model. And we've done this. We've played actually 3 totals since we started using a stat model. I know that's not a very big sample. We were 2-1. So if you're going to use this, just be cautious, wager at your own risk. And again, if you got any questions, you can always send me a DM. So moving along, if anybody wants this spreadsheet, we'll give you this spreadsheet for free. All you have to do is buy any package at dogsandaces.com. You can buy a $20 package. You can buy whatever. I mean, we have a baseball card coming out. I will start offering my baseball package somewhere around probably April 15th or so. I don't have that up, but if you can buy my totals package. I think you can buy a daily NHL totals daily card, I think for $20. But you don't have to buy mine. You can buy any package at dogsandaces.com. Send me the link or a screenshot that you bought it, and I will send you the soccer spreadsheet for free. So, hey guys, that is the video, and I appreciate everybody that has helped and contributed to the handicap and soccer totals. I doubt we'll do another one. We may if there's interest, but if you haven't watched the previous two videos, I encourage you to do that. And if you have any questions at all, you can post them in the comment section or send me a DM on Instagram. I have a, if you look in the link below in the description box, there's actually a link to dogsandaces.com. And also a link to follow me on Instagram, MG Covers with a Z, and on Twitter, MG Comedy. So greatly appreciate all the support, and we're going to continue. My goal is to continue to do a new handicapping video every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. So I hope everybody has a great week, and that's going to do it for me. Take care.